Hello, Sacral Beauties. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast, where we focus on burnout recovery through the power of sacred pleasure. So welcome. We have been diving in and talking about the burnout archetypes. If you're new to the Myers-Briggs personality framework and you're like, I don't know what this is all about, then be sure to check out the very first episode of this series, which can dive in a lot deeper. But today we're going to dive in and talk about the personality type ISTP. Your burnout archetype is the silent burner. So if you've been the one holding it all in, carrying the weight of every problem without asking for help, then this episode is for you. As an ISTP, this personality type tends to be introverted in the way that you draw in energy. You rely on your senses to process information. You tend to be a thinker when it comes to making decisions. And you're more of a perceiver in the way that you relate to structure and flexibility. Your sacred strengths as an ISTP is that you are resourceful, practical, and thrive under pressure. You solve problems with calm logic, even when others panic. And your independence gives you freedom and resilience. So take a deep breath and honor your strength because it's sacred. But what happens when your independence starts to become isolation? Some signs that your personality is creeping you into burnout looks like withdrawing from deep conversations and staying surface level or ghosting entirely. Refusing to ask for help, even when you're drowning. And life feels heavy, but your default is for you to push through silently. Some clues that your body may start sending you to let you know that it's overworked for your personality type can feel like neck tension, gut issues, and disrupted sleep. Let's break down your nervous system pattern. When it comes to our survival coping mechanisms, we either fight, flight or flee, freeze, or fawn. For your personality type, you're likely to freeze and go into an emotional shutdown. You feel safest when you disconnect, and asking for help feels threatening. Vulnerability for you equals feeling exposed, and that feels unsafe. Some core beliefs that are common for this personality type can sound like, if I need help, I'm weak. Emotions slow me down. No one will even understand me, so why try? Some root causes that may have shaped these beliefs is that as a child, you may have seen or believed that being self-sufficient represented strength. Early in your childhood, you may have experienced your emotional needs being ignored. Independence started to become survival. You may have had an experience to where you tried to depend on someone or you relied on someone, or maybe you were really vulnerable and you shared something that was really important to you, but then they shared it with someone else, or they threw it back in your face, or you were somehow punished for it. Or maybe someone helped you, but later down the road, they would tally up everything that they helped you with, and in some regard, made you feel guilty. When this happens, you definitely start to see independence as a strength, because no one likes to feel the rug pulled out from underneath them. So this isn't to say that self-reliance and being independent is not important, because I would struggle with this myself. I've had so many experiences where I did rely on someone and did depend on them, and then out of nowhere, they could just flip a switch and then I am completely devastated. And the thing about our belief system is that if something happens at least 3 times, we start to form it as a truth in our mind. So if this has happened to you quite a few times, it's very easy to take on being more hyper independent, not relying on other people, not asking others for help. And you can just kind of hold this belief in your mind to say, I'll get through it. No one needs to know about this. No one needs to hear about this. And I will just figure it all out. But I do believe that at times when we are vulnerable and we do allow for the right people to help us, we can get so much further with recovering. We just have to be in that safe space. Some common fears that can come up for this personality type can look like a fear of losing autonomy or being judged for needing support. That deep fear of vulnerability to even admit that you need help or support can feel mortifying for you. But your strength isn't in isolation. It's in knowing when to let someone hold space for you. Vulnerability doesn't erase independence. It restores your energy. And I know this sounds nice to hear, but hard to do. So that's why it's so important to choose someone that you truly feel safe with, so that way you can be able to continue to thrive and not stay stuck in burnout. When it comes to your body under stress, you may notice that your shoulders and neck feel really tight. Your digestive system is in a space of distress, and you may experience a lot of fatigue. Hormonally, cortisol may begin to spike, which will disrupt your gut health, worsen PMS, or create irregular cycles. When it comes to your sacral energy, that feeling of desire and creativity will fade because suppression starts to numb sensation. And I would definitely tune in and listen to the Frozen Code episode of the Sacral Codes so that you can get a deeper understanding on just how we freeze emotionally. So let's cover some common habits for your personality type that could be leading you into burnout. You may find yourself ghosting friends or avoiding intimacy when you feel stressed, bottling up emotions and overanalyzing instead of expressing, talking on every problem alone but refusing to delegate, distracting with work or tasks instead of processing feelings. A common burnout trap can look like trying to solve everything alone, because asking for help feels like weakness. So a prime example can look like your car just broke down, your fridge is empty, and you've told no one because you don't want to bother them. So let's shift this energy a bit and start to focus on some rituals specifically for your personality type. Grab a composition notebook or journal you have lying around and call it your 10-minute truth journal. Write your uncensored thoughts and emotions daily. No editing. Burn it or tear it after if you need it for release. Another pleasure ritual that you could do is to practice movement for release. Some slow hip circles or gentle yoga to get emotions out of the body. There's nothing wrong with valuing independence, but carrying everything alone is pretty heavy. Let that softness in and start by letting your truth out on paper. But if you need deeper support, then let's book a one-on-one call together and work through this burnout archetype, along with figuring out what stage of burnout you're in to get you reconnected back to yourself. And you can also activate your 30 days of pleasure rituals at shesacral.com to get started on your sacred pleasure journey. Your strength isn't silence. It is knowing when to let yourself be supported. If you feel like this episode is resonating with you, but you tend to be a little bit more the extrovert, maybe you even reach out for help, you might actually be more of an ESTP, which is represented by the archetype, the fighter. So if you're interested, be sure to tune into the next episode, which will dive into the extroverted version of this personality type even more. This concludes today's episode. Thank yourself so much for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to the She Sacral podcast.